Are you relying on protein powders to protect your muscles, yet still noticing weakness, slower recovery, or even loss of strength as the years go by? This is a problem I see all the time, and it is not your fault. We have been told for decades that the solution to preventing muscle loss is simply to add more protein shakes, more powders, and more grams of protein into the diet. But here is the truth. Muscle loss, especially as we age, is not just a protein problem, it is a metabolic problem. Let me explain. Beginning as early as your 40s, your body starts to lose muscle at a rate of about 1% every year. This condition, called sarcopenia, is one of the biggest predictors of frailty, falls, and loss of independence later in life. But here is what most people do not realize. Sarcopenia is not just about how much protein you eat, it is about whether your body can actually use that protein. Think of your muscle like a construction site. Protein is the raw building material, the bricks. But what good are bricks if there are no workers on the site? The real workers are signals inside your body, hormones, enzymes, and growth factors that tell your muscles when to use those amino acids for repair and growth. If those signals are blocked by inflammation, high blood sugar, or poor liver function, the protein just sits there unused. This is why so many people drink their protein shakes faithfully, yet still lose muscle over time. Here is what the research shows. The key to stopping muscle loss is not just about flooding the body with protein powders. It is about activating the metabolic pathways that turn protein into muscle. And the exciting news is that there are natural, whole foods that can switch on those pathways instantly without the side effects, fillers, or expense of powders. In this talk, I'm going to show you one specific food that science has proven can stop muscle loss right away. And it is not what you think. We will also break down why powders often fail, how your hormones and mitochondria play a role, and the exact timing and food strategies that work best for preserving lean muscle at any age. By the end, you will understand why muscle is not just about looks. It is a metabolic organ that protects your brain, burns fat, and keeps you young. How the wrong approach to protein can actually accelerate aging. And most importantly, how a single natural food available in every grocery store can help you hold on to your strength, mobility, and vitality for decades to come. So, if you have ever wondered why your shakes are not giving you the results you hope for, or if you are serious about aging with strength and independence, this is going to be one of the most important lessons you will hear. Most people think muscle loss is simply a matter of not eating enough protein. That is why protein powders have become a multi-billion-dollar industry. You see them everywhere. Whey, soy, pea, collagen. The promise is simple. Drink this and your muscles will grow. But here is what is really going on inside your body. When you consume protein powder, it breaks down into amino acids. These amino acids circulate in your bloodstream, waiting for your muscle cells to take them in and use them for repair or growth. But here is the catch. Your muscle is not automatically absorbing those amino acids. It only responds when the right signals are present. Think of protein like the bricks for building a house. Without construction workers on site, the bricks pile up in your driveway unused. The construction workers here are your metabolic pathways, specifically a pathway called mTOR, which stands for Mechanistic Target of Rapamycin. When mTOR is activated, your muscles receive the green light to take amino acids and build new tissue. But if mTOR is not triggered, it does not matter how much protein you consume. It will not translate into muscle. Now, here is where the problem with protein powders comes in. Many people drinking them already struggle with metabolic roadblocks, like high insulin, fatty liver, or chronic inflammation. These block the activation of mTOR. So instead of going into your muscles, the protein gets diverted, often stored as fat or burned inefficiently. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that older adults consuming protein shakes did not experience significant improvements in muscle mass unless their underlying metabolic health was addressed first. In other words, the protein alone was not enough. The body needs the right internal environment to make use of it. Let me give you a real-world analogy. Imagine buying top-quality gasoline for your car. If your spark plugs are faulty, and your engine is clogged, no matter how premium the fuel, the car will not run smoothly. Protein powder is the fuel, but your metabolic health is the engine. And this explains why so many people feel disappointed after months of drinking shakes. They expected energy, strength, and muscle gains. But instead, they may even gain fat or experience bloating. That is not a failure of protein, it is a failure of context. Here is the takeaway before you think about how much protein you're consuming. You need to focus on how your body is able to use it. Optimizing insulin sensitivity, reducing inflammation, and supporting your mitochondria are the foundations. Without this, powders will always underperform. And if this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post content like this every day to help you take control of your health naturally. Here is something most people overlook. Muscle is not just a tissue that moves your body. It is also one of the most powerful regulators of blood sugar. When you eat protein or carbohydrates, insulin helps shuttle those nutrients into your muscle cells. But if your body is insulin resistant, which is incredibly common after the age of 40, that shuttle system breaks down. Think of insulin like a key that is supposed to unlock the door of your muscle cell. In a healthy system, the door opens smoothly and nutrients flow in. But with insulin resistance, the lock becomes rusty. The key still turns, but the door barely budges. This means amino acids from your diet cannot enter the muscle efficiently. They end up staying in the bloodstream, or worse, they get redirected into fat storage. Now, add chronic inflammation into the picture. Inflammation acts like glue inside those locks, making them even harder to open. This inflammation often comes from visceral fat, poor sleep, processed foods, or even hidden liver stress. When it is present, your muscles receive fewer signals to grow. The result, even if you are eating protein consistently, your body cannot use it to stop muscle loss. What the research shows is clear. A paper published in Diabetologia found that individuals with insulin resistance had impaired muscle protein synthesis even when given adequate amounts of protein. In other words, insulin sensitivity is the gatekeeper for whether protein actually builds muscle. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine trying to water a garden. The hose is connected, the water is flowing, but the nozzle at the end is clogged with debris. No matter how much water pressure you apply, only a trickle comes out. Protein is the water, but insulin sensitivity is the nozzle. If the nozzle is clogged by insulin resistance and inflammation, your muscles will not be watered no matter how much you try to supply. So, what can you do about it? Here are 3 practical steps. Number 1, reduce added sugars and refined carbohydrates. This helps lower insulin spikes and gradually restores sensitivity. Number 2, incorporate fasting or time-restricted eating. Even a simple 12 to 14-hour overnight fast gives your insulin receptors time to reset and improves your muscles' ability to use protein. Number 3, eat anti-inflammatory foods daily. Fatty fish rich in omega-3, leafy greens, turmeric, and berries. These foods reduce the inflammatory glue that blocks nutrient absorption. When you improve insulin sensitivity and reduce inflammation, your body flips the switch back on. Suddenly, the same amount of protein you eat becomes far more effective at maintaining and even rebuilding lean muscle. Up to now, we have talked about why protein powders often fail and how insulin resistance blocks your body from using protein effectively. But here's the exciting part. There is a natural food available in every grocery store that research shows can switch on your muscle-building machinery almost instantly. That food is the egg. Eggs are often underestimated. Many people see them as just a breakfast staple, but biochemically, they are one of the most powerful muscle-preserving foods on Earth. Why? Because eggs contain not only high-quality protein, but also a specific amino acid called leucine. Leucine is the master trigger for that mTOR pathway I mentioned earlier. The pathway that tells your body, build muscle now. Here is what the research shows. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition compared whole eggs with egg whites after resistance exercise. The results were striking. Those who ate whole eggs had a significantly greater increase in muscle protein synthesis than those who ate the same amount of protein from egg whites. In other words, it is not just the protein content, the yolk contains critical nutrients like choline, vitamin D, and healthy fats that act like cofactors, the spark plugs that make the protein work. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine you were trying to bake bread. Protein is like the flour, leucine is like the yeast, and the yolk nutrients are like the oven heat. Without yeast, the bread does not rise. Without heat, it never bakes. Eggs provide the complete package: the flour, the yeast, and the oven. That is why eating whole eggs can instantly activate muscle preservation far better than an isolated powder. And here is the best part. Eggs are far more than just a muscle food. The choline supports brain health. The vitamin D supports hormone balance. The healthy fats stabilize blood sugar. All of this creates the perfect metabolic environment for muscle to thrive. So, how do you use this in daily life? Aim for 2 to 3 whole eggs at your first meal of the day. Pair them with fiber-rich vegetables or avocado to slow digestion and keep insulin stable. For those who exercise, eating eggs within 2 hours after training maximizes the muscle-building effect. And if you are concerned about cholesterol, decades of research now show that moderate egg consumption does not raise cardiovascular risk in healthy individuals. This is why I say forget the tubs of processed powders. Nature has already designed the most bioavailable, muscle-protective food, the egg. And if this insight is adding value, make sure you subscribe, because every day I post new content to help you unlock your body's natural healing potential. Now that you know the egg is one of the most powerful natural activators of muscle preservation, we need to layer in another crucial factor: timing. Because when you eat can make the difference between your body using that protein for muscle or simply burning it off. Here is what is really going on inside your body. Your muscles are not always equally ready to absorb amino acids. They become especially receptive after periods of fasting and after physical activity. This is what researchers call the anabolic window. It is like a doorway that swings open wide, inviting nutrients inside. But if you miss this timing, the door gradually closes and your ability to build or preserve muscle declines. Let me give you an analogy. Think of your muscle as a sponge. When it is dry, it readily soaks up water. When it is already saturated, the same amount of water just rolls off. In the same way, when you eat protein after an overnight fast or after exercise, your muscles are like that dry sponge, ready to soak up amino acids and use them for repair. The science is clear on this. A paper in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition found that consuming high-quality protein within 2 hours after exercise significantly increased muscle protein synthesis compared to delaying intake. Another study showed that distributing protein evenly across meals, rather than loading it all at dinner, resulted in greater lean muscle preservation in older adults. So, what does this mean for you in practice? Number 1. Front-load protein early in the day. Having eggs or another high-quality protein source at breakfast sends an early signal to your muscles to preserve strength. Skipping protein until dinner is one of the biggest mistakes I see. Number 2. Time your protein around movement. Even a 30-minute brisk walk or bodyweight exercise session primes your muscle to absorb protein more effectively. Follow that with a protein-rich meal and you get more mileage from the same food. Number 3. Space protein evenly. Instead of eating 50 grams in one sitting, aim for 20 to 30 grams at 2 to 3 meals. Your body can use it more efficiently this way, avoiding. And here is the key takeaway. Eating the right food at the wrong time is like putting gas in your car after the trip is over. It is wasted potential. Aligning protein intake with your body's natural windows of sensitivity is one of the most powerful ways to prevent muscle loss without needing more total protein. Even with the right food and the right timing, there is another layer that determines whether your body preserves or loses muscle. That layer is hormones. Hormones act like the master switches that govern whether you are in a state of building or breaking down muscle tissue. Let us start with cortisol, your primary stress hormone. Cortisol is useful in short bursts. It mobilizes energy when you need it. But when cortisol stays elevated for too long, it becomes destructive. Chronically high cortisol literally tells your body to break down muscle into amino acids to use as emergency fuel. That means the harder you push under stress, poor sleep, emotional pressure, or overtraining, the more your body cannibalizes your own muscle. On the other side, we have testosterone and growth hormone, which act like anabolic signals. These hormones encourage muscle preservation and repair. But with aging, poor sleep, excess belly fat, and nutrient deficiencies, these signals decline. The result is a hormonal environment that favors breakdown rather than building. Here is what the research shows. A study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that men with even moderately lower testosterone levels had significantly greater muscle loss compared to those with normal levels, independent of protein intake. Another paper published in Sleep demonstrated that just 1 week of sleep restriction reduced testosterone by up to 15%, directly impairing muscle protein synthesis. So, how do we reset these hormonal signals naturally? Number 1. Prioritize deep sleep. Muscle repair happens at night, especially during slow wave sleep, when growth hormone pulses are strongest. Aim for 7 to 9 hours in a completely dark room. Number 2. Manage cortisol through stress reduction. Daily practices like meditation, breathing exercises, or simply walking outdoors in sunlight lower cortisol and restore the balance between breakdown and building. Number 3. Support testosterone naturally with nutrition. Zinc-rich foods like pumpkin seeds, magnesium from leafy greens, and healthy fats from olive oil and avocado provide the raw materials your body needs to produce hormones. Combine that with resistance training, and you create the perfect internal chemistry for muscle preservation. Let me use a simple analogy. Imagine your body as a construction site again. Cortisol is like a demolition crew tearing down the walls, while testosterone and growth hormone are the builders. If you only hire demolition workers, the building disappears. But if you provide more builders, materials, and rest, the project flourishes. Your hormones decide which crew shows up each day. And here is the empowering truth. You do not need injections or artificial boosters. By sleeping well, managing stress, and eating the right nutrients, you can shift your hormonal environment back in favor of muscle preservation naturally. We've covered a lot. Why protein powders often fail, how insulin resistance blocks muscle growth, why eggs are nature's perfect muscle food, the importance of timing, and how hormones either protect or erode your strength. Now let us put it all into a practical protocol you can use starting today. Think of this as your muscle preservation blueprint. Step number 1. Morning reset. Begin your day with hydration and sunlight exposure. A glass of water with a pinch of mineral-rich salt or a squeeze of lemon primes your cells. 10 minutes of morning sunlight helps set your circadian rhythm, lowering cortisol later in the day and improving sleep quality at night. Within your first meal, include 2 to 3 whole eggs paired with vegetables or avocado. This not only activates the mTOR pathway, but also sets your insulin sensitivity on the right track for the day. Step number 2. Movement triggers. Aim for at least 1 session of movement daily, resistance training if possible, or at minimum, brisk walking. Even light activity primes your muscles to act like that dry sponge ready to absorb amino acids. Remember, it is not just the exercise itself, but the combination of exercise plus protein afterward that locks in the benefit. Step number 3. Protein timing. Distribute protein evenly throughout your day. Instead of saving it all for dinner, aim for 20 to 30 grams at each meal. That might look like eggs in the morning, salmon or chicken at lunch, and lentils or lean beef at dinner. If you want a plant-based boost, combine legumes with whole grains to ensure complete amino acids. Step number 4. Hormone alignment. Protect your sleep as if it were medicine. Go to bed at a consistent time in a dark room and aim for at least 7 hours. Layer in stress management techniques, a 10-minute walk after meals, or 5 minutes of slow, deep breathing to lower cortisol. These simple practices shift your hormonal balance in favor of muscle preservation. Step number 5. Anti-inflammatory nutrition. Every day include at least 1 serving of omega-3 rich foods like fatty fish, walnuts, or flaxseed, along with colorful produce such as berries, spinach, or cruciferous vegetables. These reduce the inflammatory glue that keeps your muscle locks jammed. Step number 6. Periodic fasting. At least 2 to 3 times per week, extend your overnight fast to 12 to 14 hours. This helps reset insulin sensitivity and allows your body to use protein more efficiently when you reintroduce food. When you put these steps together, you create a system that does not just preserve muscle. It optimizes your entire metabolism. Your energy improves, your fat burning accelerates, and your risk of age-related decline drops dramatically. And here's the empowering part. None of this requires expensive powders or complicated supplements. These are daily choices, natural, sustainable, and effective. We began with a simple but important question. Why do so many people drink protein powders faithfully, yet still lose muscle as they age? Now you know the answer. Muscle preservation is not just about how much protein you consume. It is about whether your body can actually use it. Here are the big takeaways. Number 1, protein powders fail because without the right metabolic environment, those amino acids are wasted. Number 2, insulin resistance and chronic inflammation act like rusty locks, blocking protein from entering your muscle cells. Number 3, whole eggs, with their leucine, yolk nutrients, and bioavailable protein, activate your body's muscle-building switch far more effectively than isolated powders. Number 4, timing is everything. Eating protein in the morning, spacing it evenly, and pairing it with movement ensures your muscles actually absorb and use it. Number 5, hormones like cortisol, testosterone, and growth hormone decide whether you are breaking down or building up muscle. By managing stress, sleeping deeply, and eating the right nutrients, you can shift these signals naturally. Number 6, a daily protocol, sunlight, hydration, eggs, evenly spaced protein, resistance movement, anti-inflammatory foods, and periodic fasting creates a complete system to stop muscle loss and protect your strength for decades. And why does all this matter? Because muscle is not vanity. It is not just about how you look in the mirror. Muscle is a metabolic organ. It burns fat. It balances blood sugar. It protects your brain. It keeps you mobile, independent, and resilient as you age. Losing muscle is one of the fastest tracks to accelerated aging, frailty, and decline. Preserving muscle, on the other hand, is one of the most powerful longevity strategies we know. So, here's my challenge to you. Try just one of these changes today. Maybe it is swapping your morning shake for 2 whole eggs. Maybe it is walking after lunch and then having a protein-rich meal. Maybe it is setting a strict bedtime tonight to restore your hormones. Start small, but start now. Your future strength, energy, and independence depend on it. And if this message added value for you, like this video and subscribe to join thousands of others who are learning how to optimize their health naturally. Together, we can change the way aging looks and feels, not with powders and quick fixes, but with real science-backed strategies that your body understands. Because the truth is simple. You already have the tools. Now it is time to use them.